Well, I'm able to give a sense of how things happened in Scotland as part of this great event. In the British Isles, we were united with our fellow Catholics in England and in Wales. I made my way to Greenock, which is where the River Clyde on the west coast of Scotland meets the sea. It was also the port from where the President of the United States' mother left from Scotland to go to the US, and I was amazed to find when I arrived there 300 Catholics had gathered at the river, rosaries in hands, to pray the rosary on the coast, and those amazing numbers were replicated around the country with 400 locations with similar numbers of Catholics gathering to pray the rosary. We reckon something like upwards of 45,000 Catholics in the British Isles gathered at the coast or various places to say the rosary. We know that 100,000 plus watched online, and we were getting messages of support in from Japan, from Syria, from Nigeria, from Brazil, from America, from Canada. It was almost like this was a global event, and I certainly, when I was there, had the sense that we were being caught up in something greater, that we were instruments, I felt, of a higher plan. I certainly felt that this wasn't a human idea. I felt this was Our Lady's idea. Our Lady's solution for the world in the present time began in Poland with the Rosary in the borders, moved to Ireland, had come to the British Isles, now going to Australia, and soon over to the United States of America. And I left as I was driving home thinking, do you know, something changed in the Catholic Church in the British Isles yesterday. That there was a sense that we'd come from darkness almost joyfully at last into the light. I know that bishops had flocked to these events along with priests and religious. Parents, children, babes in arms were all there. And I heard a report from Queensferry, which is on the east coast of Scotland, where the river meets the sea, a place where St Margaret 1,000 years ago inhabited. And some had gathered in the north side of the river, and they were able to wave over to another group that had gathered independently on the south side of the river, and in the background was the ancient island monastery of Inchcolm. It was as though something which was ancient was being reborn again on our country. It was as though Catholics are beginning to get the sense, the inspiration that all the problems in the world really can be solved by prayer, where they've not been able to be solved by politics. And I got the sense that all of the pent-up fear that Catholics have experienced in the last generation, almost like the apostles just in the early times caught in the upper room for fear. I got the sense that they threw that fear off. They joyfully went into the public square and they began to proclaim the good news. Some were going to cafes and having a cup of tea before the event and talking to people at other tables saying, we're here for the Rosary on the Coast, are you Catholic? Why don't you join in? And people were taking leaflets. It was like a day of new evangelisation. It felt like a day of grace for us. I think the Church has taken a step forward just because of this event, and therefore I commend it to the Australians and I commend it to the Catholics in the United States.